you sold on the Texans as AFC contenders?
You have to consider them contenders. They have a puncher's chance because they have a special quarterback. You know how lucky he got yesterday? You know how many times I've seen Tom Brady get lucky in his career or Russell Wilson get lucky in his career? There are some guys where the football gods just smile on them, right? And partly that has to do with the effect they have on the team. The fact that the leader of the team is believed in by the troops. And it affects both sides of the ball. I've seen that affect special teams even, where everyone just believes. Now, they were lucky yesterday. They were. But Deshaun Watson seems to get lucky at the end of games a lot. And in a 500 league, an 8-8 type of league, 10-6, you get a little lucky, 6-10, a little unlucky. Those kind of moments late in games can be the difference between advancing in the playoffs, and usually are, and not advancing in the playoffs. The bottom line is, as shaky as they've looked at times, it's a 7-4 team. It's a team like with a loss to New Orleans. At New Orleans, it was really close. You know, and sure, this was also close and it went their way. But and look, you can run on them. I get it, all these things. Stephen A., I'll leave that stuff to you. But the fact is, a 7-4 record means you're going to be in the thick of things. And then it comes down to, do you have that guy under center that you believe in? And the answer for me, for Deshaun Watson, is yes. That gives them the puncher's chance. They're a contender.
They're a puncher's chance, but I don't label people with puncher's chances contenders. I believe in Deshaun Watson, big time. You know how I feel about him. I do not believe in the Texans. You gave up 175 yards rushing last night. That's a problem. By the way, everybody you going against ain't going to be Jacoby Brissett. And not to knock him because he's had a pretty damn good season when healthy, no question about that. But he ain't Andrew Luck. Let's not get that confused. He's not Deshaun Watson. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Tom Brady. He damn sure ain't Patrick Mahomes. And at the end of the day, if you're the Texans and you're going into the playoffs, you're going to have to go against one of these teams. So when I look at the Texans, I see a team with Hopkins, 35-yard touchdown catch, 2 touchdown passes catches last night, 51-yarder from Deshaun Watson to Fuller. We understand what they can bring in terms of their wideouts. But this is a team with a highly suspect defense led by Romeo Crennel, dare I say. I like this man. I admire this man. But the bottom line is this year, that defense ain't anything to brag at home about. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I view the Houston Texans as a team that's going to make the postseason, and they're going to go to hell home really quick, fast, and in a hurry. And if that's what I perceive them to be, that is not my definition of a contender. A team that's just good enough to get.
So you don't think they could be in a close game in the first game of the playoffs? Because if they are, then you got to say Deshaun Watson could easily pull it out.
I did not say they couldn't be in a close game. I said they're going home without a playoff victory because I don't believe in anything that they have outside of Deshaun Watson with Hopkins. And Fuller, I respect him too. I don't believe in their defense, if I'm really, really getting down to it. I don't believe in their defense. That's how I feel.
I agree. They are not contenders. They are pretenders. They may win that game. They're going to lose the next round afterwards. And the reason is that the style of offense that they're playing is not sustainable. We're here watching on Thursday night. Yes, we're all enamored with the 4-for-4 deep balls and the big plays, but that's not how you win a Super Bowl. You look at the past Super Bowl winners, yeah, you'll have a few big plays, but what do? You run the ball consistently. You play good defense. You stop the run. That's first and foremost on defense. You stop the run. So if they can't get that corrected, I don't know how we can talk about them being contenders.
How important is it to have Will Fuller back for them, though?
It's extremely important. Will Fuller, what he does to set a defense, forget the offensive side for a second, what he does to set a defense is, as a defensive coordinator, I got to find out where is that fast guy, because that fast guy will absolutely blow up any defensive play call that I have just by outrunning my cornerback, right? So now you have to find where he is. Now you figure out the defense against him. Then you have to figure out how you're going to stop DeAndre Hopkins, which is also another problem.
Yeah, without double coverage.
Double coverage. Exactly. So
good luck.
I understand that they have a very, very good offensive system when he's healthy, but that's not sustainable for the playoffs.
I get your point, because when I see teams where I'm like, what's the difference here? Like, why do I like the Saints more than like the Chiefs from last year?
Yeah.
The run defense. That's what I really look for. Like, who can stop the run? And they ran all over the Texans at critical points. Yes, they probably lost the game because they didn't continue to run the ball against the Texans. That's fair. But then we saw the Chiefs with a terrible run defense last year get within one pre-snap penalty
because of Mahomes.
Of the Super Bowl. Because of Mahomes.
Because of
But what
Mahomes.
I'm saying is, Deshaun Watson with Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins. It's not Mahomes with Tyreek Hill. I get it. But it's something like it.
No, what we're
it's
saying,
something like it.
No, because there's a big difference. Mahomes was the reason that Kansas City was a contender last year. Mahomes is better than Watson.
Yes,
Not
he is.
by a lot, but Mahomes is a better quarterback than Watson. What we're saying right now is what Watson has and what the team has, they cannot be a contender. It's just not possible for them unless they change some things defensively and they continue to force the issue running the football. That's it. It doesn't change. Just look at all the teams that make their way into the NFC, AFC championship games. They make their way into the Super Bowl. It doesn't change.
They lost to the Saints by 2 points.
Which is fine.
At New Orleans.
Which is fine.
Saints have a run defense.
Thank
They're
you.
a complete team. The whole thing, that's a game they could have easily won.
Right, but that's what we're talking. That's the difference between a divisional round, winning or losing, than a championship round, winning. That's what we're talking
Or maybe
about.
a Super Bowl.
Or a Super Bowl.
For me, the reason why I get back to Romeo Crennel in the interest of fairness, in 2017, this defense was ranked dead last in points allowed. Mike Vrabel was your defensive coordinator. Now, Romeo Crennel was an assistant head coach, so obviously he has something to do with the defense. He was the number 2 behind Bill O'Brien, et cetera, et cetera. It was dead last. I don't understand how a guy goes from, even though I like Vrabel as the coach in Tennessee, I don't understand how a guy goes from being a defensive coordinator for the worst ranked defense in the NFL to getting the head coaching job.
See how Tennessee is
these are the kind of things we have to pay attention to, okay? But the very next year, they go from number 32 with Vrabel to number 4 overall with Romeo Crennel. And so now that they're 17th, we have to pay attention to that. And the reason why we have to pay attention to that is because of what I said. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, okay, Tom Brady. I mean, you can't ignore this stuff. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.